Hey everybody, Tropical Mix here. I'm Brett,
I'm Gabe.
and today we are doing our first Spoilercast episode. This is a series where we will be going over a more recent game that we have played. Sometimes it'll just be two of us, sometimes it could be all four of us. But today we will be going over Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. We both just got PS5s a month ago.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I'd say so.
And this is my first PS5 game I've been. I think it's yours.
Yes. Yep. First PS5 game I played.
We'll start off with our intro to the series, or where we started. So, Gabe, where did you start with the Ratchet and Clank series?
Yeah. So I actually started with Ratchet and Clank Going Commando. I got it, I think, at GameStop years and years ago for PS2. And I love that game. Being the age I was, I never really played a game like that kind of combined 3D platforming with like gunplay. And it was, and I thought the humor just really kind of stuck with me. I feel like Ratchet and Clank has a pretty unique sense of humor. And then after Going Commando, I think I played the first one after that. And then, what's the third one? I'm blanking on that right now. Yes, Up Your Arsenal. Yeah, I played that. And then I played the two on PSP, Secret Agent Clank and Size Matters. And then I kind of missed most of the PS3 cycle of games towards until the end of the PS3 era. Then I picked up, I think it was Crack in Time. I played through pretty much all of it, and then I got stuck on my last boss because I suck.
Crack in Time?
And then
Tools.
I forgot.
I think you said it was the first PS3 one.
Yeah.
So,
which one was that?
Tools of Destruction.
Okay. Yeah. And then I played the remake. Not the remake, the reboot. And then I played Rift Apart.
As you know, I started with the first game. I think that was one of our first PS2 games we had. We all really liked it. So we got Going Commando when that came out, and I absolutely adored that game. I think I played... Before we lost our memory card, I think I was on challenge mode 16, I think, for that game. I played the shit out of that one.
Oh yeah, you did.
Easily my favorite Ratchet and Clank game, and I think it's one of my top 5 games of all time.
Really? Okay.
Played Up Your Arsenal. I like that too. I know a lot of people say that's the best one in the series. I don't think it is, but still really good. Played Deadlocked, which also was really good because one of my favorite things was the arena battles, and that kept the good stuff about the arena that I liked. The PS3 ones I didn't really play because I went Xbox that generation. It was afterwards when I got a PS3 way later on, and I think Tools of Destruction, Quest for Booty, Crack in Time, and I think All for One were out at that point. I played, what was the PSP one?
Size Matters.
I have it on my shelf. Yeah, Size Matters. I played that on PS2 because I never owned a PSP. I have not played Secret Agent Clank yet. But I've played all the PS3 ones, including the spin-offs. Played the reboot, and just played Rift Apart. So, it is one of my favorite series of all time, I think. So, this will be a good episode for me, I think.
I think so too.
All right, just what's your overall non-spoiler thoughts on the game now that you've been in it?
Non-spoiler thoughts is that I think this is a good showcase of what the PS5 can do, both with the DualSense and graphically, and storytelling wise, just with it being a Sony first party game. Like when I think of a Sony first party, I think of a game with good gameplay, and engaging enough narrative, and it's had a really good time with it. There's very few games where I want to play it all the time. Right now, Legends Arceus is one of them. But yeah, it was one of those games where I'd wake up and I want to play it. When I was done playing it, I looked forward to the next time I played it. It really sunk its claws in me.
Yeah, it's weird because like I was really hyped when it came out, and I had to play it on Colin's PS5 at the time. But I thought it started out really slow. And like the villain, I mean, in the beginning, using Dr. Nefarious again as a villain, I think was, I don't know. It's just like Insomniac's great at making new characters and new villains and stuff, and like just going back to the same one now for, I mean, he came out on Up Your Arsenal, which was like 2005. So I mean, he's been a villain for like 15 years, which is fine if they're using him sparingly, but like they used him in the original trilogy. He's in the future series. He's in the spin-offs. So I was kind of wanting a new villain with that, so that was kind of off-putting at first. But like you said, it's a great technical showcase of what the PS5 can do. And it looks great as always. Ever since the transition to the future series, like these are like Pixar level visual quality, and it looks great. The voice acting again was phenomenal. I think the guy who voiced Quark normally had cancer or something.
Yeah, he wasn't in it,
so he didn't do it. I think the guy they got to replace him was a good alternative. You can tell it's not the same guy, but I mean they kept his mannerisms and everything, so that was pretty good. What else? Without talking about,
I want to kind of respond to what you said about Nefarious, because I had kind of the opposite feelings. Okay. I think because I didn't play the future series or the spin-offs, Nefarious hadn't really grown old for me, and I thought he was a fun villain, stupid villain, but silly and over the top. Even though I hadn't played the future series or the spin-offs, like playing the first, like the opening moments of the game felt like home to me in a weird way, because it was that kind of gameplay that I remembered about the series, and the voice acting. I think it's underrated that they've kept the same voice actors for Ratchet and Clank through all these games, because hearing their voices, it feels like home in a weird way. Like you feel like you've grown with them as they've gone on their adventures. It's really cool.
Yeah, I just like. I'm not saying Nefarious is a bad villain. Like I like him as a character and as a villain. It's just they've shown, like, I mean, the first game had Drek, and he was also Nefarious was in the reboot, which he wasn't in the original. And then the second game had a different villain, and then, Nefarious was introduced in Up Your Arsenal. And then Deadlocked had a different villain. Tools of Destruction had a different villain. Like, they've shown they can make really good villains.
Yeah.
That are different, but they're all goofy and stuff, like...
Right.
None of them are evil, or, just, like, comically bad. Like, they're all... They all have their own personalities, but they're all colorful characters.
Yeah.
So, just... To me, it's not even that Nefarious is a bad villain. It's just, I would like to see them introduce new villains. And newer characters, which they did in this game. So,
if they did introduce a new villain in this game, would you wanted to see a different version of that villain as well, or a different dimension.
So, without going into spoilers, which we'll talk about later, I didn't know they were going to go that route, in the beginning of the game.
Same.
So the way they ended up doing it in the game, I think is fine. I think like if they're going to tell, if I'm assuming we're going to get another game after this, once Insomniac's done with Spider-Man 2 and Wolverine. So for that, I would like to see a new villain. Just give Nefarious some time to, sit out for a game or two. But introducing other versions of some of these other villains, I think would be cool to see.
I agree. Those are I'm not sure if it's spoilers, but that the fact that there are different dimensions in this game, so different versions of characters, I thought that was always fun to see what character what they would act and look like.
Yeah, and I was actually kind of surprised we got that later on in the story, and we'll talk about that a bit. Fun fact: did you know the guy who voices Ratchet voices Obi-Wan in the Clone Wars show?
I did. Yep.
Okay. Yeah. James Arnold Taylor's just
James Arnold. He's voicing him in the Skywalker saga too, the Lego game.
Oh,
I think it's awesome. Yeah.
I forgot that game.
And I learned that the guy that voices Clank voiced Arishem from the Eternals.
Really?
Yeah. And he voiced Megatron in Beast Wars. Pretty big deal.
Yeah, they got a good cast, and I'm glad they kept it the same. Like even Nefarious's voice actor is so good at doing it. That actually makes me wonder if they got him for the other. No, I'm not gonna say that. I don't know. What did you think of the weapons?
Okay, I want to talk about weapons. I wrote that down. So the weapons I feel like without the DualSense, I would have had different opinions about the weapons. I would have just thought that they were just okay. But I feel like the DualSense just makes everyone seem unique for the most part. I thought some weapons were kind of samey, like the Ricochet and the Bombardier. Those like shot things out and then they like kept hitting something, like enemies in kind of the same way. I wrote down my favorites. The Glove of Doom, love that. Like any kind of encounter where there was a bunch of guys, it was just throw them all out and then they would do their dirty work. And it was so cool to see them just go ham on these baddies.
Yeah. See, the thing I like about the Glove of Doom is. I know you didn't play the Future series much, but since the Future series on, they've kind of used like a bunch of the same weapons. Like I'm pretty sure it's the same blaster starting in the Future series up till now. Versus like all the PS2 games had like their own blaster variant or whatever. But the Glove of Doom was from the first game, and they really haven't brought in a lot of guns from the first 4 games.
Yeah.
So like when I saw that in the shop, I was beyond ecstatic to see that.
The other favorites I wrote down were the Lightning Rod and the Buzz Blades, both because they're kind of similar. Where if you shoot one at one enemy, it kind of connects to the next enemy. The Lightning Rod was especially fun for me because going back to the voice acting, like every kind of enemy had their own kind of being electrocuted sound effect that they did, and it was so comical and funny. It's like blah, blah, blah. Yeah, it was great. And then the Buzz Blades are just satisfying to see them just fly around between enemies as you shot them. You just hold down R2. And then going back to the DualSense, the haptic feedback, I can't say enough about it for this game. just like holding down the right trigger and feeling that feedback of like it popping back up and down. Oh, it was so good.
It was so off-putting to me because like I haven't had that with any other game. Like, you know, the Xbox controllers don't do that, and the only other two games I've really played on the PS5 so far have been Dark Souls 2 and Demon Souls Remake, and neither of them have like that haptic feedback on there. So like every time like I'm holding down the fire button with whatever gun, you know, it's just going and I'm like, especially like I don't know if you bought that like chain gun one where I think it's called like the black hole whatever.
Yeah.
Like just holding that thing down, I'm like, yo, this controller's about to jump out of my fucking hand.
It's 4D gaming. I put it up to my ear a lot when I play it, just so I could hear it.
That sounds like a hearing loss problem gonna happen.
Oh. No, man, Mark Cerny wants that. He loves ears, sound.
I was gonna say that was gonna be really weird if you just left it right there. I don't know. I liked a bunch of the weapons. The Warmonger was good, and I think that was in the reboot.
Yeah.
Since I pre-ordered the game, I got the Pixelizer to start off with.
Oh yeah.
And I think that's one of the two challenge mode weapons you get. That one was fun, like turning them into like 8-bit retro looking. I mean, some of the other ones, like you said, the Bombardier it helped in certain situations, but it kind of did what other weapons did too, like the Ricochet. Yeah, Gloved Doom was great. I think the Fungus one was a good alternative to like Zircon, because obviously in this universe, Zircon's not a weapon, you know.
Right. Yeah.
The one that like turned them into plants, I think was.
Oh, which one was that? That was
I can't remember what it's called.
The Topiary Sprinkler, Topiary.
That was a very good one, especially early on in the game when you don't have a bunch of weapons and you're running out of ammo and like you have a Gunther running at you on that one planet. Like that was a really good stopper. Blaster was alright. I found myself, after I upgraded it, not using it much unless I ran out of ammo. I like the Enforcer. That was good, having a shotgun weapon.
Yep.
I'm trying to think. What's the one where it shoots out like a dog?
Oh, that's the Drill Hound.
Yeah, Drill Hound.
Work every time.
I like weird weapons like that. Like that was always one of my favorite things about the Ratchet and Clank games was you just had these super weird weapons. And I found the Future series kind of like streamlined the weapons, and like you didn't really have as much wacky ones outside of like the whatever game's version of the Rhino. So like having one that shoots out a dog, I think was kind of cool. Even half the time, I feel like you didn't hit anything. It's like half the time I'd shoot it and go flying through the air and hit the enemy.
Right.
The other time it would like run along on the ground and then just fade away, and I'm like, I don't know if I'm missing something or if I'm just not doing it wrong.
I think it was one of like the homing weapons, so it had to be targeted onto something for it to work. Yeah. That was at least in my experience.
The Headhunter, I think, was a decent one. That was the sniper one. I just found I felt like that one and the ice one. I forgot what that's called.
Oh God. Yeah.
You know, the one that turns into like ice blocks.
Cold Snap.
Cold Snap, yeah. Like, they're cool. I just found by the time you get them, they didn't have a lot of use to me.
Yeah. Yep.
I feel like that, especially the Cold Snap, because like it worked really effectively on like the smaller enemies, which by the time you get to the late game, you're not fighting a whole lot of those smaller enemies. You're fighting like the big guys that are shooting you with lasers from far away, and
yeah.
So I feel like that one would have been a good early game weapon to get. Headhunter, I think, would have worked better as a mid-cycle one, just because towards the end you're having a lot of close encounters and it's kind of hard to snipe. Yeah, I mean, I liked most of the weapons. I do think the games need more of the wacky and more variety. Like the Ricochet was good, but it was kind of just like the blaster. Same with the Bombardier and stuff. So,
did you love the demo videos of each weapon from Zircon Jr.?
I did, yeah.
Everyone was so hilarious.
Yeah, I love Zircon. That's probably one of my favorite things they introduced in the Future series, and just his dialogue was always great. Like, Mr. Zircon is here to kill you, and whatnot.
Mr. Zircon is bored.
Yeah, like stuff like that. Like, he always had great dialogue. So, and like, I'm trying to think, where was Zircon in this game? Was he the bartender?
He was a bartender. Yeah, okay. That was. And then, I think he owned that whole establishment. Yeah, that was his thing.
Ms. Zircon does, the weapons, obviously.
The shop.
Yeah. And then Zirk Jr. did the arena.
Yeah.
Which his dialogue for that was always great. Yeah, I don't know. Did you upgrade your weapons a lot?
I did. Yeah, I kind of played like I would keep a bunch into like the rotation until I got to level 5, and then just switch them out with new weapons I got.
Mm-hmm. Did you do like the
even if I didn't really like them?
Did you do the Raritanium upgrades?
Raritanium upgrades? Yeah. Oh yeah, I did. Okay. Oh, I do want to add that I loved every time you picked up Raritanium because the DualSense made a weird like a sound. It was so satisfying each time. I like the upgrade system with that where there's the hexagons and like the ones like inside, like you'd get like extra boost from like doing special upgrade paths basically.
Yeah, I think that was introduced in the Future series,
okay,
which was nice, but from what I recall, you didn't have to go like to the vendor to upgrade that. Like, you could upgrade that from anywhere.
Yeah.
And so I asked Cullen, I'm like, I have all this Raritanium. This is what you use to upgrade weapons. Where do I go for this? And he's like, oh, that's one of the things. I think he said something about like they took it out. And I'm like, okay, that's weird. What do I need all this Raritanium for? And then I was probably like 3/4 of the way through the game. And like,
no, you weren't.
I was. And I was buying a new weapon at Ms. Zircon's, and it, like, I tabbed over, and it was like, oh, here's where you spend all your Raritanium. I had, like, I think 230 Raritanium by the time I started upgrading stuff. I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm like, this would have been very helpful early on.
Because you use that to upgrade the capacity, right? Those upgrades?
I mean, it does different stuff. Like, some allow you to shoot farther. I know, like, the Bombardier, for example, like, if you didn't have the upgrade, like, if you threw one out while you had another one out, the first one just went away. But there was an upgrade where you can throw 2 out at a time, which was really nice. Or, like, it allows you to shoot the weapon faster. And I know a bunch of the weapons have, like, you can keep 2 more ammo or whatever. So, yeah, that would have helped a lot in the beginning.
Yeah. That's unfortunate.
Is there anything else non-spoilery?
Non-spoilery. Can you tell me how the Future series did armor? Like, was there pieces of armor you could equip?
So it wasn't like this.
Yeah.
At least from what I'm remembering. The way I remember it is you started off with a base set, and then you could buy armor, like as the story went on. This is from what I'm remembering. I couldn't even tell you how it happens in a reboot. It's been so long since I played that. Did you like how it was in this game?
I did. Yeah, I like that. There's each armor piece had its own like sets, so you can mix and match, which I liked, and I like that you could paint or customize the color.
Wait, you can change the color?
You can change the color.
Oh shit! I didn't know that.
Yeah. So you can make anyone that maybe didn't look cool initially. I would just make mine black most of the time. Like it's like a full black suit of armor.
Which armor did you run with?
Oh, I couldn't tell you right now. I can say that my armor selection was kind of based off of aesthetic only, not really about the boosts or boons that it provided. I know I had different armor sets for the characters you play as in the game.
Okay. So you gave Rivet a set, and you gave Ratchet a set.
Yeah. And I like that the armor pieces showed up in cutscenes in that high quality. Yeah, super nice.
Yeah, so one of the like pre-order bonuses they announced besides the pixelizer was the Carbonix armor, which was like the final set you could get in Going Commando.
Yeah.
And I thought it was really cool looking. I'm like, okay, I'm totally running with this armor. I thought it was just going to be like, if you pre-order it, that's how you get it, and if you don't pre-order, you're fucked. Because they did that with the reboot. Like, if you pre-ordered the reboot, you got the bouncer from Going Commando, and that was the only way to get it. So, like, there's been instances of where they've done that, so if they would have done that, that wouldn't have surprised me. But, I mean, you can get it in the game. Normally.
I got it in the game. Yeah.
Like, I think I had one of the pieces before I realized I never put in my code for the pre-order bonuses. So, I mean, I have a lot of nostalgia for Going Commando, so I was like, I'm rocking this armor. I don't even care what the rest of them look like.
Yeah.
I did try them out, and I actually think some of the other ones had better bonuses than the Carbonix armor. Which kind of surprised me, because, like, that was, like, endgame armor. Like, that was the best shit you could get in Going Commando. But, yeah, honestly, I threw Carbonix on both of them. And, like, yeah.
I like the levels where you would get most of the armor pieces. Like, the Rift worlds.
Yeah.
Because they reminded me of Super Mario Sunshine in a good and bad way.
I feel like they were a lot easier than Sunshine's optional levels were. Because I remember those being hard as shit.
So hard.
Although the music did slap in those. All right. Let's move on to spoilers.
Yeah, we can get into spoilers. We can talk about anything else we forget about too.
Yeah. If you are watching this on YouTube, I will put a thing that says spoilers. So if you haven't played the game and you plan on it, stop watching. With that said,
bye.
Yeah, bye, Felicia. Okay. First thing I want to talk about, the other dimension variations of these characters, I think, were phenomenal.
Yeah. Yep.
Big one, Dr. Nefarious. I don't know if it's the same voice actor, but whoever it was did a wonderful job differentiating him. Like, he made him regal and, like, elegant.
Yep.
Even when, like, he's trying to kill someone or, you know, he's losing in the final battle. Like, he's still elegant about it. His design was great. Like, they did such a good job contrasting the two. And then, like, the new version of Captain Quark, or Captain Quantum, I think it's called. He was great.
Yep, Captain Quantum. Yeah, he was really fun. I like the bucket on his head.
Yeah, that was funny. And, like, he had the Quark mannerisms, but, like, he also had a different personality. And, like, it was... Like, they were talking about going to find Captain Quantum. And I'm like, okay, this is their version of Quark or whatever. And I was expecting just, you know, the same kind of Quark. But no, like, he's, like, leading the pirates. And he's not, like, a hero, you know? He's different, but, oh, my God. He was great.
I think it's so funny that the pirates are, like, all behind him. He was their leader until the bucket fell off his head.
It was literally just a bucket. Like, he looks nothing like a robot.
Right. There's a bunch of idiots.
Yeah. Well, and speaking of the robots, Rusty Pete, Pierre in that
universe,
he was so over the top about it. Like, he's like, oh, Rivet. Yeah, obviously he has a thing for Rivet, but, like, he's playing hard to get with her, and, you know, he's still fighting her. And honestly, I don't remember much of Rusty Pete's character. Again, I think he's a future series one, and I think he was primarily in Tools of Destruction and Quest for Booty, which Quest for Booty is a really short game, and I haven't actually beat Tools of Destruction all the way. So, yeah, he was good. Skid, you really didn't get much of Skid at all.
No.
You got the beginning scene, and then there's, like, a scene at the end where the two Skids are, like, hanging out, which was cool. But I feel like he didn't play into the story very much. But the big ones, let's start with Kit. What did you think of Kit?
I liked Kit's storyline. And I just want, it's, like, bizarre to see Deborah Wilson in this kind of role, because she was somebody I kind of grew up with because she was on Mad TV, which is, if you don't know, like a sketch comedy show that was supposed to kind of rival SNL. Yeah, she's doing, like, so much more like serious roles now, and I think it's awesome. And I thought she, like, when she first started talking, I didn't know it was her, because she does this, like, robotic voice so well, but she finds a way to kind of, like, dance between, like, stoic, emotionless robot, but also charming, cute. I feel so bad for you. I want to give you a hug, robot. And I thought that the storyline of her being kind of evil in her past life, and how she was connected to Rivet, but she didn't know at the time, was just like that hit me, man. Like, that flashback scene, like, oh my gosh. I like the name Kit. I like where it came from. It makes sense. I like that we got to see her first with Ratchet, so we could kind of get to know her with somebody that we know ourselves, and you kind of see how she's hesitant to help people because of what she's done in the past. Kind of thinks down of herself, and Ratchet, being the amazing protagonist he is, kind of gasses her up for her to think that she is better than what she thinks she is, and she is a hero, and she'll find her own best buddy, best friend out there in the universe, and she does, I think. Yeah, what did you think?
This thing, so it's funny because I don't know if you remember the first game much. Like, Clank was a defective destroyer bot or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
So seeing
parallels,
seeing how Kit is, and like that's how Clank was supposed to be, you know, originally. Like that's what he was designed for. Like seeing her, like we haven't got like a sequence in a game in a while where Clank turns big anymore.
Yeah.
But just seeing Rivet, and just like Rivet's like ginormous and just gun, like kill, you know?
Yeah.
Like I was like, holy shit. The first time like she turns big and like Ratchet's like she's literally got a gun in Ratchet's face, I'm like, oh fuck.
I thought she was gonna sacrifice herself in that scene. She first turns big.
Yeah, definitely.
She's yeah.
I do think it would have been cool to see like what made her defect. But like, yeah, the cutscene with Rivet was great. I do think introducing her with Ratchet was great, because like Ratchet was great at like building her up, like you're better than, you know, what you think you are. But then like you see moments where Ratchet's the same way, because like he's scared of meeting the Lombaxes because he's like, what if I'm not good enough? Like Kit doesn't even know everything that, you know, Ratchet has done, you know. But she's like, oh yeah, no, you're fine, you know. And they're kind of the same, but they're good at like building each other up when needed. I think was good.
Yeah.
Yeah, her character was good. I'm interested to see where they go with her, because like this game opens up like a good possibility. Like you can continue Ratchet and Clank's story, or like now we have a whole universe with Rivet in it, you know.
Right. Yeah.
So I think pairing her and Rivet together, I think, would be a good thing, because like in the first game, Ratchet and Clank, you know, weren't exactly friends at the beginning either, you know. They were mutually helping each other, but they had different goals and stuff. So I think seeing a new take on that with Rivet and Kit could be really interesting.
I think so too. Yeah. I feel like the future of the series should include Rivet and or Kit in some way. Like if the next game was just a Ratchet and Clank game, I feel like that would be a step back. We can talk more about that maybe towards the end.
What do you think of Rivet?
Rivet. I think I enjoy playing as her more than Ratchet in a weird way. I liked her quirks and her quips and her. I feel like she was in. They kind of built her up to be kind of a hero of her own world, like being the leader of this resistance, and her having a cool metal arm. Like you can't top that. And I'm just same with like Deborah Wilson, like Jennifer Hale. Like she has such range. I've really only ever seen her in like serious roles, and seeing her kind of do a more cartoony voice, I thought was really really cool of her. It made sense for the game, and I liked her arc that she was kind of the leader of the resistance that couldn't really lead the resistance to a win against the emperor. She kept losing. You know, this is where you lose. You know, that's kind of that's what she heard a lot, and it felt really good to see her win in the end.
It did, yeah.
Yeah.
And like
it seemed to be opposite of Ratchet, who always seemed to succeed in his dimension.
It's funny because Ratchet is, Ratchet's won how many times, he's beat Nefarious how many times, and like he's shown he's capable, you know. But like his biggest thing as a character is maybe I'm not good enough to the people that I don't know, you know. versus Rivet the whole time was like, yeah, we can do this, you know, like she was heroic. Like the only time she really got scared was when she realized Kit was the one who took her arm off.
Yeah.
You know, the whole time she's like, yeah, we're gonna beat him, you know, we need to do, like, she was very heroic most of the game. Compared to like Ratchet was kind of, I don't want to say not heroic, but out of the two, she was definitely the one that was like, yeah, we're gonna beat him, you know, we're gonna stop this, blah, and all that stuff. And she honestly, like, she gets along great with everyone that showed up in the story, whether that was Skid or the 800 different Morts.
Those Morts were hilarious. Very Midwestern.
Oh, hey, Rivet.
Oh, Rivet. I got a quest for you.
Gotta get these Zerp stones.
My God, I hated getting those.
Okay, dude, I was getting so annoyed because there were some I'm like, I can't get to that. You know, and like, I can't land, and then eventually Colin's
and that
like,
bird thing.
Yeah, Colin's like, eventually you get a fire ability, and then literally 5 minutes later, just out of nowhere, the Mort's like, oh, you know, what was the bird thing's name?
I forgot. It was like a person name. It was like Sally
Trudy?
or Ted.
Was it Trudy?
Trudy. That sounds right.
I think it was Trudy. They're like, oh, Trudy, like, did you notice anything different? Like, she can shoot fire now. And I'm like, oh, that would have been helpful, you know, 10 minutes ago when I'm
10 minutes ago
past all these Zerp stones that I can't get. So, yeah, the Morts were good. The Pirates were good. The Goons for less, I'm kind of... I don't know. I know they're supposed to be just, like, generic bad guys. And, like, I don't know if this is, like, a splinter group of... I don't remember if you remember in Going Commando, the Thugs for Less.
Kind of. I might have to look that up.
There was, like, that one big boss battle where you're fighting a guy in, like, a giant robot suit. And there's, like, turrets on the buildings that you have to shoot him with. He was the leader.
Okay. Yeah. This is, yep.
So, like, I don't know if they're, like, a spin-off, like a splinter group of them.
They have to be.
I mean, because, like, Thugs for Less is way more, I think, intimidating than Goons for Less. Goons for Less sound
bunch of goons.
The Goons for Less sound like the characters like the Joker in the Batman animated series would hire for a mission. Oh,
it's the Bat.
Yeah, you know, those guys.
Yep.
So they were all right. Trying to think of any other characters. Rivet. What did you think of the Emperor's assistant?
Oh, I thought she looked like that one Pokemon. It's like a psychic type. It's like grounded psychic type. I'll find it later and show it to you. Okay. I didn't really have many thoughts on her. I didn't think she was in cutscenes for very much. Yeah. What did you think?
I feel like she was really underutilized. Like, she shows up in the beginning cutscene where Rivet steals the infobot, and then the next time I remember seeing her is when you're at the prison and you're trying to break Ratchet and Clank out.
Right. Yep.
So I don't know. I feel like she didn't really attribute much that, like, taking her out would cause any major issues.
Yeah, I didn't feel like she was that important.
I guess she was also, like, kind of in charge while Emperor Nefarious was gone, but, like, Dr. Nefarious like stepped in there, and like how you don't tell the difference between the two is beyond me.
Yeah, it's kind of stupid.
So I was kind of like whatever on her. I do want to talk about like the Rift parts, which was like one of the main, gameplay features they showed off.
Yep, mechanics.
So okay, so we can talk about the like yellow rifts, like while you're in combat, and then we can talk about like the little side area ones, and then the one part that I think was really good and that showcased what the PS5 can do is like when, like in the beginning when you're sliding through the rifts and you go through the different levels. I thought that was
cool.
I thought that was amazing, especially like when it actually took you to a different level and you stayed there. I feel like the rest of them could have been. It feels like a neat proof of concept to me. Like the side areas, like we talked about earlier, like kind of like the Mario Sunshine thing, where you go get the armor pieces. I thought those were cool, but it really didn't result in doing much outside of most of them. You just had to do some little platforming, and there were a few where you had to ride the little beetle thing around. I just think seemed like I think those could have used a bigger variety in like what the layout was like. Because some of them you'd run through in like 30 seconds. I don't know if you feel the same way.
Some are harder than others. Yeah, some are easier than others. I thought overall the Rift's incorporation was I liked it. Like first of all, from like a sound design standpoint, I love the sound that they use whenever you grappled onto the Rift and pull yourself towards it. And then like secondly, both for Rivet and Ratchet, the voice actors, whenever they would pull themselves, they would make this like grunt noise, which sounds weird. That I like that, but it just felt satisfying. Like they were really like enjoying what they were doing. It's like, ugh, like it felt like, yeah, it felt good. And then in combat, it was always fun to use them to just like get behind like somebody and just take them out. That was always cool, or to like evade gunfire. And the purple ones that would go to different, either like the sunshine levels or a different part of the level. It was always a nice treat when I would see that, because I would see it out of the corner of my eye. I was like, ooh, I gotta go there. Gotta go see what's inside. Is it going to be an armor piece? It's going to be a gold bolt. It's going to be, I don't know what.
I forgot about those ones, yeah, because that one mining planet used them a lot. And then I think the research facility had the purple ones too.
Yeah.
And like seeing different variations of the levels was cool. And it's not like both of them were the same. Like the mining planet, that shit was destroyed. And the other one, like, you transition from a broken facility to a regular facility, which I think was really cool. The combat ones, like you said, like, getting up behind an enemy was great. I just feel like the range on them wasn't that great. Like, okay, like, there were a few arena ones where, like, it's literally like a little square with lava in the middle. And like you could, like each part of the square had one. So like you could get behind enemies. I just feel like you were really only going like 5-10 feet maybe, you know? So I feel like on like the battlefield ones where you're like in a big open area, like if you were like over here and there's one way over here, like if you could do that, I think that would have been really cool. But most of the time it's like you're going from here to, you're like going from here to here.
Yeah, short hops.
Yeah, short little hops. So I think it's a cool concept. And it was Like, it was a good way to, like, get behind a group of enemies or get away from those big brawler alien ones. But I think it's something they should further explore in a game. I found myself not using it as much as I would have liked.
Yeah, I think it's something that if they did more of it in a future game, I wouldn't mind. But I also wouldn't mind if they just didn't incorporate it into a future game again. There's something I wanted to ask you. With Ratchet and Rivet, did you ever feel like they were trying to make them a thing, trying to ship them? Because I don't think so. I think it was more of like a curiosity thing, knowing what the other one was like, and then once they did meet, it's more like a respect and admiration thing because they had never seen someone that looked like them. So it's like a, you know.
I think so. My thing with it was like, you know, you get Rivet with Clank a lot in the beginning, and Clank's like, oh, this is how Ratchet is, blah 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 blah, you know, and then like Rivet even comments like, oh, he really sounds like your universe's version of me, right?
Yeah.
And when they finally meet, like, to me it was kind of weird because it didn't come off as, oh, I'm meeting my counterpart. Like, it more came off as like I'm meeting a sister or brother I haven't ever known about until 2 days ago, you know?
Yeah.
So I think that initial meeting between them was a little weird.
It was weird.
But, I mean, after that, it was fine, I think. They played off each other really well. Rivet knew...
I wish we could have gotten more with them.
I mean, we get
together.
We get more of it, you know, in the final battle area. Like, when you switch perspectives. Like, because I think you start off as Rivet. And then you transition to Ratchet on the ship. And then you go back to Rivet. I think that was cool. Because, like, you're playing Rivet at first and you're, like, making your way, you know, further along in the level. And then Ratchet's like, hey, we got a plan. And then crashes a fucking ship into Nefarious.
Yep.
And then while Ratchet's fighting him, Rivet's off, you know, doing something else too. So I think they worked really well in the beginning. It would have been nice seeing more of them because, like, you would go back to another thing I didn't really like was like they capped the levels to certain characters. Like when you go back to was it Sargasso? That was the one with the monks.
That was Savali. I wrote that down.
You go back there and you're Ratchet every time. Or like, I went back to the prison to pick up a collectible and you're Rivet. So, and every time you get in the ship, it's like, I wonder how Ratchet's doing. And then that's how you know you're cutting back to Ratchet. But I think, yeah, more interactions with him would have been nice. I think going to each level as each character would have been cool too. Like,
yeah,
you pick, like, do you want to go to Savali as Ratchet or as Rivet? I think they didn't do that just for, like, you would have had different dialogue with the characters of that level.
Yep.
You know, like, if you would have went to Savali as Rivet, like, Gary the monk knows Rivet, knows Kit, so you would have had different dialogue. Same thing with, like, Ratchet talking to the Morts. You know, it would have been different. But that's something I would have liked to see. What do you think of the levels? Like, I think there was, like, 9 in this game.
Sounds right. I wanted to talk about Savali as a level because I never seen one like that in a Ratchet and Clank game because it was more open world, which I thought was kind of ambitious. And with like kind of the early on goal of having to activate these things to get to the archive, it felt very Breath of the Wild, which I liked. It was cool because the archive is just this big giant thing that's walking around. And yeah, I feel like that level wouldn't have worked if the jet boots weren't a thing. If you're just walking around. But I think that kind of makes it more manageable. But besides that, I didn't think they were that memorable because they just felt like regular Ratchet and Clank levels. I like the one that the space station one where you had to hit the crystal. You would go back and forth between. Was it? You went back and forth between dimensions or time? I forgot.
It was dimensions. So
yeah.
I think it's because you go there as Ratchet, right?
I think you go as Rivet. Or do you go? I don't know.
I think it's Ratchet.
Yeah.
That's actually a good question if that one's time related. I think that one's a time one. Yeah, you go as Ratchet and Rivet, or Ratchet and Kit. And I feel like that one's a time-based one. No. I'm remembering this all wrong. Sorry. Okay.
We're getting old.
That one's a dimension one. So you go there as Ratchet and Kit, and you're like in the Emperor Nefarious dimension. And they lock the elevator, so you have to find another way in, and that's when you hit the crystal. So then I think you go back to Ratchet's dimension, and that's when it's all destroyed. Yeah, I thought that was a good one. Like, I don't know how many of the collectibles you hunted, but like, trying to find some of those, like, trying to figure out what connects to what and everything was... That one gave me a doozy for a
bit. Yeah. I needed a walkthrough at some point.
And then, like,
what did you think of the levels?
I do think the Emperor City level, like, almost had no... I don't think I went back there one time. After you get off planet. Savali, I think, was interesting. I liked going around. I don't know if you did all the lore stuff. I thought
some of it.
You did some of it?
Yeah.
I thought that was interesting. Like, being able to get more Lombax lore, I think, was really cool. Because they mentioned Ratchet's dad in it. Like, mentioned him by name. I think was cool. And, like, it's optional. You know, you don't have to do it. It just gets you some armor pieces and lore.
Right.
Also, the trial part where... You know, like, you'd step on the thing and then the ground would come and you'd have a certain amount of time to do that. I think that was interesting. It didn't really ramp up very hard because, like, the first one's, like, a straightforward, you just need a zoom. The second one, I think there's, like, some roots you have to jump on or you have to, like, jump over.
Yeah.
But it really doesn't get that much harder than that. Because then you have the mines, which I think going between, like, a completely destroyed level and, like, a still functioning one was really cool.
I like that level with the giant robot. I like that sequence of, like... Yeah. You needed the robot to fix something. I forgot. But it was like...
the junkyard one. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a good one, yeah. being on the grind rails, like trying to avoid it and everything.
That was cool.
Yeah, that was fun.
It's a good blend of like old school Ratchet mixed with kind of the Uncharted gameplay of like action.
Yeah, that one was good. I'm sad, like there really wasn't any reason to go back to the planet after.
Yeah.
And that's just kind of how this whole game felt to me. Like, really, the only planets you were consistently going back to were Xerxes and Rivet's home world. Sargasso, I think.
Was that Sargasso?
I think so.
Okay.
But like, yeah, I mean, outside of you going to a level once, like, there's really only one path to go. Like, the original trilogy had like, you go to a planet and like there's a main place to go, but there would be like optional side areas that you would need further equipment and stuff to go to. Which this game really streamlined, like, the equipment needed. Like, you really just have your slingshot and your wrench.
Yep.
And, like, they introduced the other slingshot variants, which was cool, but, like, I remember, like, you had a trespasser in one game, you had, like, the hydro equipment and another. So just, like, there was, like, other unlockable stuff in the levels, but, like, you really had no reason to go back to any of them, is my main issue with them. Like, they look good, and, like, they don't all play the same, which is great, but just, like, once you go there, do what you need to do, you're done, which was my main issue with it. What'd you think of the story?
Yeah, I thought it was sad how it started because Clank was just trying to do something nice for his best friend Ratchet, and then everything just goes to shit. But I guess we should have expected it when he's building this kind of weapon that can go between dimensions. So of course something bad's gonna happen.
You know, that's definitely not something I would put in a parade.
Right, yeah, at a parade, like you want to give that to Ratchet in private, you know, in your apartment. I assume they have an apartment together. No, I thought it flowed well, kind of, you know, going to a different dimension, meeting a different version of variant of Ratchet, meeting a different variant of Clank, going from world to world, trying to figure out. I can't even think of what tied the worlds together. You going between them all. I will say I didn't really like the ending. I felt like it was kind of flat. Like there was a good callback for the Kraken to come back and defeat Emperor Nefarious, but
that part.
I kind of wish that Doctor Nefarious would have been part of Ratchet and Rivet's plan to take down Emperor Nefarious, because he was clearly jealous of what he had accomplished, Emperor Nefarious. So I thought he would team up with them to kind of take him down, but it didn't really happen. And I guess I like that the ending was kind of open ended about where Ratchet and Rivet are going to go next. Mm-hmm. What did you think?
There's parts I really like. There's parts I don't really like. Like, you don't see the Emperor till you build the Dementiator, which is like 3/4 of the way through.
Yep.
And then he doesn't do a whole lot. You know, like, he opens up a bunch of rifts, and then eventually he goes to Ratchet's timeline, and he's like, I'm gonna fuck your shit up. And he does, but I mean, like, he doesn't do anything drastic that you're like, why does everyone fear him? You know, like,
yeah.
And like you said, like Nefarious kind of gets a little time where everyone thinks he's the Emperor and he's in charge, but like as soon as they introduce the Emperor, like he just continually shits on the regular Nefarious. Which makes sense, it's a version of you that didn't do what you did, so, and knowing Nefarious's character, it makes sense. Like, you obviously think you're better than he is, but, yeah, I mean, like, your point about Nefarious, like, stopping him would have been, I think, a better ending, even if, like, okay, Nefarious is like, well, obviously I'm not winning this time, but if I can stop you from winning, that's good. I loved the final level. Getting there and, like, you're seeing the goons and the pirates fighting against, Nefarious's forces, including both versions of, like, Captain Quark and, Skid to do stuff was great. It felt like a actual like the Emperor actually felt like a threat there because you had everyone fighting him. It wasn't just
everyone is here.
Yeah, exactly. It wasn't just Ratchet's gonna go deal with him and Rivet's gonna go deal with him, and we're all just gonna sit back and not do anything. Like they were actually doing stuff, which was really cool. I do think part of me thinks they're going to go visit the Lombaxes. Because that's something they've been building up the whole Future series. Like,
sure,
the Lombaxes are out there, Ratchet, you should go see them. And now you have another Lombax, too. So, I don't know if that's just something they're going to, like, leave as, like, it happened. Like in between the two games, where like, oh yeah, we did this off screen, but we're not going to show you, kind of thing. Yeah, overall, I don't think it's story wise, it's not my favorite. But I mean, it's Ratchet and Clank. It was good. I enjoyed it. But it also had the task of introducing these new characters in this new world. So, like I said earlier, I think this is something they could build off of, where obviously I think it'd still be called Ratchet and Clank, but like we could get a game just based around Rivet and her universe.
I would love that. Yeah.
Or, we can get a game on Ratchet and Clank, or they still technically have the Dimensionator, so they could kind of take this wherever they want. It kind of reminds me of what Marvel's doing now, where, Loki introduced these different universes, and then, like, WandaVision touched on it, and then Spider-Man and the upcoming Doctor Strange, where you're getting all these new takes on things. So I feel like we could definitely get that with this series.
Do you think they'll use the Dimensionator as a grounds or as the backstory of PlayStation All-Stars game, the sequel? Get all the characters together in one place?
They could do that. I don't think they'll do that as much as I want a PlayStation All-Stars 2. But I would be cool with if they wanted to do a take on, like, what was the move game called? Was that PlayStation Heroes?
That sounds right. Yeah, PlayStation Heroes.
Where it had Sly and Jack and Ratchet.
Oh.
I don't know.
PlayStation Move Heroes, yeah.
My thing is like, they aren't really doing anything with Sly, and Naughty Dog's already buried Jack, so...
Yeah.
I think... I mean, if Insomniac's got so much shit on their plate right now, I don't know if they would do it.
They do.
If we got a spin-off game of, like, the three of them again and like actually make it like a good game and not like the move game. I think that would be really cool, and that would be an easy way to do it. Like, have them use the Dimensionator. They go to a different dimension. There you go, and then like it doesn't affect the main series. You know,
right? Separate.
That's actually a really good point. Yeah, I didn't even think about that.
My real like next game prediction is that they do go to see the Lombaxes, both Rivet and Ratchet. Mm-hmm. Ratchet meets his dad, who's voiced by Troy Baker, of course. Turns out he's the villain. He has to defeat him at the end.
Why would
take it to the bank? Game of the year. What?
Why would his dad be the villain?
Because he's been trying to keep the Lombaxes. They've been wanting to live a sheltered life in their own dimension, and then when Ratchet comes, probably on accident, he brings in some other villain, maybe Nefarious again. Well, no, that wouldn't make sense. I don't know.
I don't think they'd make him a villain, and part of that is just kind of everything they've hinted at about Caden in the games, but also with the way they took a crack in time. I don't think they would do it. I don't want to say anything because you haven't played that one yet.
Yeah.
But
thank you.
I don't see them making a villain. I could see them doing a game based off of it, which would be cool to see. And honestly, at that point, like, Ratchet would probably want to spend a lot of time with his dad, so I think like a lot of the gameplay stuff would be Rivet based. Because she doesn't really have that anchor with them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So. Should we share our final thoughts?
Final thoughts? Yeah. I guess I'll go first. I enjoyed it. It was a very good showcase of what the PS5 can do. I kind of miss some of the humor and the departure from the original 4 games. I don't want to call it edgy, because I don't really think they were edgy. I think Ratchet had a more nuanced character. And I think it was, he had the more wacky weapons and stuff, so I enjoyed it. I do think there's stuff they could fix on, but I'd give it an 8.5. I think. I enjoyed it.
I would give it a 9. I played it shortly after a podcast I listened to, the Kind of Funny Games cast. They voted it as their game of the year last year, and I kind of went in with that like fresh in my head. And I might have to agree. Just from start to finish, is just a polished, well put together game. Good voice acting. Great graphics. Good performance. I played mostly in performance mode because I thought that looked the best on my TV. Good guns, good gun gameplay, good gameplay loop, which is shooting things every level. It's got that same satisfying, break shit, things come out, you collect it, the sounds, the bolts, just makes you want to keep going. Great showcase with the PS5. If you're going to get any game for the PS5, get this. Mm-hmm. I didn't feel like I was lost not having played all the games. Play Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. Yes. You won't regret it.
That went an hour. I was expecting we had like 45 minutes worth of talking about it, but
got a lot to say.
We did, and it was very good. And I mean, the game was very fresh in my mind since I literally just beat it. But Colin was kind of mad we didn't include him on this one, but Well,
he's working.
Exactly. That's what I said. He's like, how are you going to have a spoiler cast? And I've beat the game, but I'm like, oh, whatever. So,
Whatever.
well, until next time, I think our next one's going to be Pokemon. Probably.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So look forward to that. Like I said, I will put a spoiler warning for anyone that doesn't want to be spoiled, so you know. But until next time, we're Tropical Mix. Bye.